What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another episode of The Wrap-Up. And look at me, it's only a couple of days late. That's not bad at all, in my opinion. But yeah, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, this is just where I talk about a couple of rap albums that came out the month prior that I've been thoroughly enjoying. These videos are supposed to cover 3 to 4 albums, but they've typically only been covering 2, and today, once again, I'm only covering 2, but 2 is better than 0. Yeah, I know I mentioned in the last video that I was going to be talking about the M project, in this video, The Death of Slim Shady, but I decided against that because I feel like the conversation about that album, whether positive or negative, in the comments at least, is gonna outshine and outweigh the conversation that would happen about either of the 2 projects that I'm gonna be talking about today. And that's not what I want. And also, these videos are supposed to be simply for me to talk about albums that I've really enjoyed. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy the M project, but I have a lot of gripes. And that's not what these are for. I don't even know if I even care to do that anymore. This is just for me to talk about albums that I feel like are really dope and I want y'all to go listen to. So, no M album in this video. Maybe I'll do a dedicated video to that album at some point, but yeah, let's talk about some rap albums that I have thoroughly enjoyed. Let's start off with Alaska and Steel Tip Dove's newest project called Reverberations of a Dead Man's Ego. And yeah, I don't think I've talked about Alaska on this channel. I know I've talked about him on Dead End Hip Hop. But yeah, I've been a big fan since Hangar 18, and I was definitely into Addams Family. I got put on to all of that stuff through Def Jux. I'm pretty sure the first time I heard any of that shit was on the Cannibal Ox project, and then through the Revenge of the Robots video. So yeah, been a big fan, and it's funny that I talked to Alaska quite a bit here and there now, but we rarely ever talk about hip hop at all. I imagine it's because he's been a rapper for I don't know how many decades, and I've been talking about hip hop publicly for quite a while, and yeah, I guess neither one of us really want to talk about that shit. We just talk about horror movies and Star Wars most of the time. I actually don't think he's ever mentioned any of his releases to me outside of, oh yeah, I'm recording some music, and that's kind of it. And I've always appreciated that because, you know, even though we weren't huge or anything even close to that, it did often feel like certain rappers only became cool with me while I was on Dead End Hip Hop because they felt like I could promote their shit. And I've never gotten that impression at all from Alaska. In fact, he kind of gives me the impression of a type of dude that's just like, I don't really care if folks hear my music. I just make rap music because I really like to rap, and that's kind of it. And he just so happens to be really, really good at it. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's dropped a few projects over the past few years, and this is actually his second collab with Steel Tip Dove. The last one was Structural Dynamics of Flow, which I really liked. But I honestly like this one quite a bit more. The rapping on that one was great, the beats were phenomenal, but I think this one comes together a bit more. The thing about Alaska is he's a super nice guy, right? But he has that grumpy, super cynical New York air about him. And if y'all have hung out with New York rap dudes, you totally get it. I get a kick out of that attitude, and that side of him really comes through on this album. But alongside that air is this air of respect for what came before and what brought him to the place that he is now, and that's what I appreciate about this album. But yeah, the first song is Key of Life, and it's great. I love the beat that Steel Tip Dove does here. The keys sound really nice. The drums are crisp, and I like the hook that he kind of says here. You can feel it in the air, humidity and despair. Quick pause. Also, none of the lyrics are on Genius. And a lot of times when I don't have the lyrics, I won't put the lyrics up on the screen because I don't know if I'm mishearing shit, and I don't want to fuck up somebody's stuff by putting misheard lyrics on the screen. Now, if somebody else mishears them and puts them on Genius, I can blame them. But yeah, you won't see written out lyrics here unless I am 99% sure I'm positive on what I'm hearing. So yeah, back to the Key of Life. I also really love the line where he talks about how he's read all of the important works from self-important dipshits. That's that New York cynicism I'm talking about. And I love how the song rolls into the next song, Ballad of the Has-Been, and the beat starts off there a little more pulled back, and I love how he presents this idea of getting older as there's a war going on inside no man is safe from. I can 100% relate to that. I love the somber beat of Vulture Stones, the nice bass sound, the slower drums, and the subtle record scratches. It works out really, really well here, and everyone shows up to rap. And this one features Sleeping Dogs, which is Andrew and Jesse the Tree, and I got into them fairly recently when I heard a feature on an AJ Suede project. And AJ Suede is another rapper who's definitely gonna get covered maybe in the next video that I do. But I was already familiar with Jesse the Tree, but not Andrew, and I really dig both of them. They rap from a really honest place, if that makes any sense. If you've heard them, I think you'll understand what I mean. But I really love the line, shadow of a young self, watch closely, strangers in the outfield, angels in the nosebleed. I think that's beautiful. And I like the line that Alaska lays out right after that, where he says, life is hard enough, save hypocrisy for saints. That's dope. But one of my favorite jams on this project is Bad Seeds. I love this beat, the horns Steel Tip Dove used here, they sound amazing. And I love the part where Alaska's talking about how our parents were worried about us smoking pot, but we're really just in our room jacking off to posters of hot women, you know, and he shouts out Samantha Fox. And I have not thought about Samantha Fox in forever, and I cracked up. Like, she, when I was a kid, was the epitome of hot. And y'all who are above the age of, say, 35, 36, y'all will probably remember that I Want to Have Some Fun video. Like, come on, she was bad. But when that beat switches at the end of this song, oh my God, that shit was so hard. Something I was not expecting from either Alaska or Steel Tip Dove when that shit came in. That was so good. And of course, I gotta talk about Murder by Numbers, man. That's one of my favorite songs on here. The beat is a bit darker, and I like the subtle sound effects that are worked into it. Like, it's great without being corny at all. And of course, I love Alaska's verse, where he's making all these horror movie references, like ABCs of Death, even though I didn't like that shit, like, at all. I like the Cronenberg shout out, and I love how he says, fuck the Babadook, because I'm with him on that. But he also says, outside of Hereditary, miss me with the Ari Aster. Nah, bruh. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but we're definitely going to, because that statement offends me. Premrock comes through with an amazing guest verse, and he throws in some Wicker Man references, which automatically elevates him because Wicker Man is my favorite horror movie. And he sounds so good on this beat, talking about people getting kept in houses where the devil sits and file it under things that you should never meddle with. Premrock is incredibly dope. And this also features Fat Boy Sharif. And I didn't even recognize him when he started rapping. He added some rasp to his voice, and he sounds so good here. And he sounds fucking spooky, again, without being corny, which is very hard to do. Gobekli Tape is fantastic. The beat is super good. Again, some really tasteful horns and some bass guitar and even some keys are thrown in here that sound really smooth. Alaska sounds great once again. Definitely some very technical rhyme schemes going on here. And yeah, his flow is really dope on this song. And this one also features Curly Castro, and I think he has my favorite guest verse on the album. His flow and cadence here are absolutely sick. And, you know, yeah, Curly always shows up, but it also features John Robinson from Signs of Life, who kills it. Mild for the Night is another song that speaks to me a lot, man. This is where Alaska's talking about how getting out is rare, you know, and how he won't go to shows unless there's ample seating. And, you know, he's watching TV with captions on. This is all me. I hate driving at night. I back into a parking space. My body's breaking down. I'm obsessed with my departure date. God damn, man. I love rappers who can effectually contextualize what it feels like to be getting older, bodies breaking down, obsessed with my departure date, constantly thinking about when and how I'm gonna die. I feel this so much. Disappearing Acts is also super hard, man. I love this almost throwback beat that Dove does here. It's hype and everyone raps their asses off. This one's features Zilla Rocca and Cryptic One, and the chemistry is off the charts. And of course, I peeped that Big L reference in the verse. I loved that shit. But yeah, I've been listening to this one a lot, man. It's a great listen, great beats, incredible rapping, and listening to this, you can tell that Dove and Alaska took their time to craft something really meaningful, and yeah, I think they really pulled it off. And the next project that I want to talk about, you know Ka's not gonna drop something and I'm not gonna at least mention it in some way, shape, or form. But yes, Ka just dropped The Thief Next to Jesus. And yeah, when Ka drops something, I pretty much drop what I'm doing and immediately listen. He's one of those rappers for me that he can absolutely do no wrong. He's also one of those rappers who he doesn't have to change his flow. You know, he's kind of like Immortal Technique in that sense, where I show up for what they're saying, not necessarily how they're saying it. Now, that's not to say that either of them have whack flows. They both have incredible flows. I just mean that neither of them have to go either way to bring these like fresh flows with each project, because I'm showing up to hear them say things that I'm simply not gonna hear from other rappers. And that's what I get from Ka here, man. He is an amazing wordsmith, and you know when you hit play that you're gonna get poetry that's thought-provoking, that's poignant, that's relevant. But this album is fucking incredible. It starts off with Bread, Wine, Body, Blood, and I like the smooth, almost blaxploitation kind of instrumental, the smooth guitars. It's a perfect backdrop for what Ka brings, and Ka is really showing himself to be such a great producer here. But at first, this song did throw me off. It comes off as a commentary on the issues with modern rap, you know, people rapping about shit that's not positive and talking about drugs and sex. And I get the point, but it's kind of a tired angle until you listen to the whole thing and you get Ka's point, especially when he brings you the hook. And the hook is, it's the shared struggle that we all go through. Don't be the weapon they use to harm you. See, if anyone's qualified to speak on how this doesn't help the black community, I feel like it's Ka. And, you know, I really like these lines as well. Had enough of every tussle, seeing muscles, where the brain's at. You want to hurt those that do us dirt? Should be the aim, black. FBI and Klan killed your leaders. When y'all gonna pay them back? If that's how we move, then I'm smooth. Y'all can stay intact. Yeah. Yeah. And then you get to Beautiful. And God, Beautiful is incredible. It's such a simple backdrop with these subtle organs and this bass, but it's perfect. And how he's rhyming with each bar ending with beautiful. It's so good, man. Easily one of my favorite moments on this record. Borrowed Time is also gorgeous, man. These beautiful keys, again, this smooth bluesy guitar, it works perfectly. This is mastery, almost at capacity. They God's name in vain, don't blame me if they can't blaspheme. Of course, them thugs are who I love and never ask no fee. Must have missed some vicious pictures in this tapestry. Motherfuckers don't rap like this, dude. Like, Ka is really on a completely different level than a lot of people, man. Souls and Spirits is another one of my favorite songs. There's something so soulful and beautiful about this song. Ka really feels like he's speaking from the soul here, and he sounds so pensive and somber that you really feel every minute of this song. And I love Lord Have Mercy, man. The beat he used here is really dope. And I like the really simple piano riff that's just going over and over again. And the understated drums that are really subtle in the mix. And that creepy but beautiful vocal sample, man. I love this song so much. Cross You Bear is really dope, man. It sounds like there's these light cymbal taps that are going on in the beat, and there's this bluesy guitar lick that's going on, and I really can't explain it, but there's some real tension in the instrumental here, and Cobb matches that tension perfectly with his verses. He has so many dope lines on this verse, man. Like, I love when he says, stay on the shelf between selfless and what's best for you. I like when he says, I hope the sacrifice match the vice. I love when he says, I pray the cross you bear is gold. Like, man, he really has a special way with words, man. And the closer, True Holy Water, is just amazing. The beat, this really understated use of drums, and what jumps out are the dueling vocal samples. On one hand, you have this really beautiful and soulfully sung voice, which is almost fighting in the beat with what sounds like a terrified woman screaming. And it makes the whole experience really dark and gorgeous at the same time, but it also adds this context to the album, man. This album is beautiful, but it's talking about a lot of pain, and that's what you have in this beat. You have these beautiful vocals with these pained screams. It's such an interesting way to make a beat. Ka is a fucking genius for this. I'm here for you, sweat, bled, and shed a tear for you. Just simple lines that are just so beautifully written, man. But yeah, I think overall, this is another beautifully amazing Ka project, man. As far as his discography goes, in my personal worthless opinion, it's flawless. This dude does not put out anything other than stellar albums. I think this is probably his most cohesive album when it comes to like sonics and tone. It doesn't come off as one of those projects where you can kind of take a song off this album and throw it on another album and it's fine. Like, no, this all sounds like it was meant to be here on this project right here, right now. And I am just so happy with this, man. Like, Ka shows why he's a pretty singular force in the rap landscape right now, and demonstrates why he's so looked up to as an MC, as a producer, as an artist, as a thinker, as a poet. You know, this is just an absolutely incredible project, y'all. So if you've not listened to it, make sure you go do that ASAP. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Definitely drop some comments. Let me know what y'all are listening to right now. Let me know what you thought about these two projects. And I will see y'all next month for the next wrap up. Maybe I can actually hit it on the actual due date. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, peace out.